Dalvin Cook, Odell Beckham Jr., Aaron Rodgers. All of these fantasy studs down for the year with injuries. And after going through a read option non-contact play in practice, Deshaun Watson joins that list. This year has been filled with injuries. Hell, Joe Thomas hadn't missed a snap in 10 years, and he's on the IR. I think it's safe to draw one conclusion from all the injuries thus far, and that 2017 is the year of injuries, and nobody's safe. If you've yet to feel the sting of the injury bug, I expect you're very lucky and also very possibly next on the hit list. In other news last week, we saw very little competition, but a few interesting facts arose. Myself and Papa Guinness, for instance, did not score touchdowns last week at all. 0. On a more touchdown-heavy note, Casey won for the 3rd straight week since his fantasy sacrifice, and he also continued his streak of scoring at least 70 points for the 4th straight week. Now, a lot of things have happened since Casey's fantasy sacrifice, most notably him going 3-0 and turning his season around for sure. But he's also won by an average margin of victory of just under 40 points a game since his fantasy sacrifice. All of his opponents have scored under 50 since then, and that's some fantasy voodoo bullshit if I've ever seen it. But I mean, it's working. So we only had one transaction last week between Marcus and Justin, and it actually happened earlier this morning. Justin sent Adrian Peterson to Marcus for Amari Cooper and Devontae Parker. These are all kind of lower end players right now who have somewhat of an ability to maybe burst out as the year goes on. AP like a bell cow. But he's on a bad team. Amari Cooper is the #1 receiver, but we know what the dynamic between him and Michael Crabtree is. I just think it's a lower end trade, but we really just have to wait and see how the players perform as the year goes on. You know, maybe AP becomes decent and gets a lot of carries and scores. Maybe he doesn't. We'll just see. We're done with all the pre-stuff. Now we can get down to the pick'ems. Our first matchup between Mouse Rat and Serial Decleters. I like Leonard Fournette pretty much every week at this point. He's very solid. I don't know how well the trade pans out for Justin. I mean, not that I think AP was much better, but Cooper is kind of whatever. We saw what Curse gave him. I think really what's going to hurt Justin most this week and cause Dave to win is the loss of Deshaun Watson. I think that just as a morale, his team's just going to be defeated. I know it's tough to come back after losing a player like that. So I'm going to go with Dave. In our second matchup of the week, we have Papa Guinness versus yours truly, Platonic Rapist. Now, even though Tyrod Taylor had his season-high 22 points this Thursday night, I still think my team finds a way to win this week. I like Dak Prescott, Mike Evans. I think Chris Thompson against Seattle is a pretty good matchup. I don't really think that's a Fat Rob type of game. So, yeah, I think I find a way this week. In our third matchup, between Tight Ends Turn Me On and The Revolution. Well, actually, within seconds of me starting to record, Marcus dropped the 15th player on his team, I assume. So now his lineup is legal. You can see he's already in a tough spot, but what I went on this week in this game was actually just purely gut. I was just looking at Christian's lineup, and for some reason I didn't see points. I wasn't, even though it looks on paper, I mean, Kareem Hunt, Todd Gurley, I just didn't see it. So I'm rolling with Marcus this week. In our fourth matchup, we have the Gathering Gloom versus No Name. And while these matchups are very interesting, at this point, I have determined Casey's going to win based on his fantasy sacrifice. So, yeah, that's that. In our fifth and final matchup of the week, between Threat Level Midnight and the African Americans, I have Kyle pulling out the W. I don't know. I think on paper, Michael has like when you look at his team, it looks much better. You know, I like Julio, I like DeAndre, but you got to think like DeAndre without Deshaun Watson, what's that going to be like? And really, what made me lean towards Kyle mostly was I think Cam Newton's going to outplay Matt Ryan this Sunday at home, and I don't know. Really, I just think I think Matt Ryan's had a kind of subpar year, and Cam might throw up like 30 this week, so I think that'll be a pretty big factor in this matchup. That's all I have for you guys this week. Just a short, quick episode. So let's have a good week, and I'll see you on the next episode of Tabooma Talks.